All right, taking a look here at Carson here on the top. Obviously, we got Miguel Cabrera here on the bottom left, and this is Drew Macias, a former major league player that I trained. Okay, so one of the things that you mentioned, Colby, was, I think we talked about bat drag and that positioning. Okay, so let's kind of start there, and just so you can see the difference, and I think you're pretty aware of this, that as he goes to the ball, as Colby goes to the ball, he's flattening, almost immediately. Okay, and then so what we want to check is when the hitter begins to slot that elbow, what position is the bat in? Okay, and as we look at Drew's position, you can see the barrel is stacked right on top of the hands. And so what creates that? It is really the position of the top hand. I mean, both hands are on the bat, but if you can really think about the top hand and having that palm of the top hand face the pitcher for as long as possible. Okay, and so when you see good hitters, what happens is that back leg, the back leg is going to get ready and go every time. Okay, and the back elbow is going to get ready and go every time. Okay, so if we go back down here to our pros, you can see the elbow work up, and you can see the elbow work to the ball. Okay, that elbow is going to work up and to the ball every time, but the hands don't change much during that phase. Okay, meaning we look here, the elbow works up, the elbow works to the ball. Okay, the palm's still out towards the pitcher, and the hands are really basically in about the same spot. Okay, they don't go back too much, they don't travel much. Okay, as we look at Colby's hands, again, you can see how he starts, how they immediately allow the barrel to drop back. Okay, the hand immediately flattens and the barrel gets flat immediately. If you look at our pros, you can see how long the barrel is staying up. Okay, so again, Carson's a young player, and like I told you, the biggest thing with him is to have fun hitting, to get out there and start just smashing baseballs, to have fun with it. One of the things that you can do that's fairly simple is have him be able to execute his stride, okay, which should include both a negative and a positive. Okay, so the stride, picking up the foot, loads the back leg, and the back leg begins to unload, okay, before that front foot hits. So go ahead and execute that stride movement, the negative and positive, the back and forth, the load and the unload of that back leg. Okay, and when he lands, the bat should still be up. Okay, if you want to work on that, I think that's fine. Just have him get in his stance, rhythmically load the back leg and go, but just make sure the barrel stays up. Okay, you may even want to add a little bit of elbow activity. Okay, if you look at Cabrera, you can really see how the elbow works up, just like an infielder takes the ball out of the glove. If you watch some of the other videos, you can really see this. Okay, with a younger player, if you can just get him to start, if we can get Colby to start by lifting that elbow slightly to start, so the elbow should start midway. It should have some room, as you can see both our hitters have here. Should have some room, but then the elbow should load up. Okay, and that's really what that really is the rotator cuff working to lift and internally rotate the humerus. Okay, so the action's really at the shoulder joint, obviously. But if you can get him to just load that back leg and unload it, take his stride essentially, and have the barrel still vertical when the elbow slots. So if you look at our pros, we want to be able to get to here on every pitch, and that bat should be fairly well stacked on our hands. The reason the pro hitters do it that way, it's lighter there. It keeps the path short. So Colby's bat, he's gotten the barrel way away from the hands. The bat's much heavier in that position, and it tends to lengthen the swing. You can really see it there as the elbow widens out. For Colby, as our elbows here are much more bent, much tighter to us. So we get a heavier bat with a longer swing. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of other aspects. Okay, so again, when I look at a hitter, if you look at the other videos, the student videos, I'm looking at three primary areas, which is the back leg, the back arm, and then that front side, which we've got to hit against. Okay, let's take a look at the back leg, and this is a really important thing if you can get your head around it, is to control your feet with your back leg. In other words, the getting ready of the back leg pulls the front foot up, and the unloading of the back leg puts it down. Okay, so when we go to throw, all we worry about really is driving at our target, unloading in the direction of our target, and that action of kind of getting the back leg ready really controls that front foot. Okay, and again, that's an advanced thing, and a lot of young players. I believe you said Colby was 7 or 8. That can be a little bit tough for them to grasp, but what you want to get across to him is there should be a backwards move first, and we see that. I see that in these swings when his foot comes up. I see that, but then the problem, especially the one with the red hat up there in the upper right, I mean that front leg just keeps going and going and going. Okay, so we've got to calm down that left leg. You want to feel like the back leg gets ready and it's very active, and the front leg is more calm. Okay, don't need to do as much with the front leg. When the front leg lands, now we hit behind it. Okay, but if you can just get him to rhythmically go back, if you can get Carson to rhythmically go back and then attack sideways with his feet. Again, when we land, good hitters land, the feet are still square at that point. The body's still square. Okay, the pelvis begins to get driven open by the front leg after we land, and that's when rotation begins. But we land with our feet sideways, and sideways is a real good key for kids. We want to land sideways, but he's definitely just jumping out with that left leg. Okay, if you can get him to load and unload this back leg and calm down this front one and keep it square when he lands, that can be a big help. Okay. Okay, and so that ties us into that front side. The back leg's driving, and so we want to hit against that front side. We want to hit against a very stable, strong front side. Okay, and you really want to feel like that front side. We get a lot more tilt rather than turn. Okay, and so if we look at spine angles here, which I really kind of put with that front side. Okay. You see how his spine has a negative tilt to it. And we look at Carson, especially on this swing, all the activity by the front leg is gonna cause him to get weight too far out front. Lunge, if you will. In this swing, we're a little bit more parallel, but there's no real tilt to the swing. Okay, there's a little bit more of an intent. Looks like me to turn rather than drive. Okay, so if we're looking at this swing in the upper left. He's fairly square there. So we want that back leg to work sideways. Then once it unweights, then it's going to turn over. Okay, we don't want to force it over. Don't want to bug squish. But in time, he's going to need a much stronger front side. He's going to have to really, hit behind it and stay behind it. But again, he's a very young player, and just keep it fun. Okay, if you can get him, I would throw to him out front as much as possible. Whether it's if you're going underhand, or even better if you can throw it overhand to him, and work on his stride, allowing the stride to work him back first in here and get to this position here. You look at Drew right here, that's where we're at. The back leg is loaded and unloaded, the back elbow is loaded and slotted, the bat's still stacked. Okay, our front side and our feet are still very square. Okay, and that's where we've got to get to this position on every pitch, whether we swing or not. We're going to get right here. Okay, so Carson's got to be able to make this move without letting the hand travel. Kind of maintain. You can be very loose and free at the shoulder joint. Look at Cabrera again. Okay, and look at how free he is here at the shoulder joint. Okay, very loose there. Very loose at the shoulder joint. but the hands really aren't. You know, they're in about the same spot. Okay, they're staying, you know, below the shoulder line. He's not allowing them to supinate prematurely and or flatten prematurely. Okay, all that, the movement of the hands is all coming from the top of the arm and less from, you know, the wrists and forearms at that point. Okay, he slots in and the bat's still fairly well stacked. Okay, at that point, feet are still square and sideways. But again, keep it fun and make sure that he can take his stride and rhythmically get here every time. So the back leg loads and unloads. Okay? The back arm loads and unloads. The elbow stays very bent at that point. Okay? And then from here we'll fire through. Okay, so when Carson's making that move there, you know, just again very simply take your stride and keep the barrel up. You know, he'll eventually learn to move that elbow without letting the hands travel so much. Again, the main thing, keep it fun. Just hit balls, mix in. My best drill is the take drill. Every once in a while, you know, before you let go of the ball, just yell take. And when as the ball is coming through, it'll be an active, aggressive take. Okay, we take the pitch. We're right here. We're right here when we take the pitch. Okay, back leg's we're gonna take our stride every time. The back leg's gonna get ready and go every time. This back elbow is gonna load and go every time. And we get right here on every pitch. If we like it, we finish the hands. If we don't, we let it go. All right, guys, give me a call if you have any other questions. Great job, Carson.
This week. Yeah.